They failed to grab my hand twice before I was able to pull them up. I tried to perform CPR on her, but failed, and then I woke up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Dream Podcast. I'm Casey Lucid, and we also have...
Hey, I'm Lee, your other co-host. Hope everyone's having a beautiful day.
All right, so today we will be going over some more dream stories. As always, thank you all for sharing all of the incredible dream stories. And if you want to share any with us, if you're a new listener, feel free to do so at either contact at LetsDreamPodcast or our subreddit, LetsDreamPodcast. Also, we will be starting to put more content on the YouTube channel. If anybody's interested, it's also just Let's Dream Podcast. But without further ado, Lee will kick us off with the first dream story here.
All right. So the first one we have is from user Irene V. Happy. I had a dream I went to visit an underground cathedral. It was buried underneath a hill. I could only look down in the cathedral from the highest tower, which was the only part that was above ground. When I looked down, I saw a cathedral filled with a beautiful fish. It was at the top, but I saw a big shadow moving underneath. It was as if some whale, shark, or dolphin, or a big fish were swimming underneath. I tied a ribbon to a small rock and dropped it into the cathedral, hoping it would reach the bottom without getting eaten by the fish. And that's the end of the dream. The user also has a second dream they would like to share with us. I also stood on top of a mountain once. It was above the clouds, and I was playing with tall grass with my fingers. I then jumped and slid down a natural water slide into a lake at the bottom of the mountain. My view in the dream changed and I saw a teckle dog?
Yeah, I think that's like the Dachshund, the little wiener dog.
Okay. It was the size of a dinosaur and it plunged into the lake from the water slide. There were people on the beach who started to run away from the giant teckle. Then I changed views again and became one of the people. I ran into a Greek temple ruin to hide from the giant dog. I saw a young woman with red hair getting eaten alive by the huge teckle. She had a look of true horror on her face, but it seemed kind of comical to me. I mean, it's a huge teckle.
Yeah, so I thought that was hilarious because I like the fact that she calls it a teckle and not a Dachshund. I actually had to look up what that means.
So are they the same thing?
Yeah, teckle is just another word for Dachshund.
Oh, okay.
Wiener dog.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I love the dream logic.
Yeah. I mean, this dream sounds really funny. What if in the first dream, the cathedral was just a teckle in it, and then they slid down the water slide and then entered the second dream?
That'd be cool. Although the first dream, I don't know, it seems very like surreal and kind of fantasy-ish. It definitely reminds me of something that one might see in the Miyazaki movie, like some kid finds like a cathedral that's full of just giant fish swimming around in it.
Or like Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus, yes. Much better reference. Yes, I agree.
Very cool. There's a certain dream about temples and cathedrals with this user. I find that very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one that we have is AzaugX 202. Interesting username. So they say, I had this recurring dream every year around Christmas time until I was 8. It was my family standing in a circle in a kitchen. There are 7 of us. And my subconscious mind portrayal of Mrs. Claus, a wrinkled old lady, which I was terrified of old people back then, was wearing the usual Santa garb. She would walk around the inside of the circle and grasp our hands with both of hers, and then look us in the eyes, not saying anything, one by one. Then she got to me, usually last, and I would wake up once again because I was terrified of old people. So this was a recurring dream for this user. I wonder if they had it every time around Christmas. Oh yeah, they did say every year around Christmas. Creepy.
I wonder if it's about their grandparents.
I don't know, but I can kind of see that because I remember when I was younger, I always thought that old people were like creepy or like witches or wizards.
Oh, for real? Like, this is gonna sound terrible, but like I was scared of my grandmom. Because
I mean, I don't think that sounds terrible. I could see why. Like,
it's not that. It was just visually, she's a very old, very wrinkled. She's really old, and so she's like very wrinkly, very almost skeleton-y, very sullen face. Like you can see her bony structures very well.
Yeah. I mean, like kids are pretty honest, like usually if they see something, regardless of if it's inappropriate or not, like if somebody scares them, they'll say it or like they'll
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, thinking back, I feel bad though, you know?
But anyway, thank you for sharing that. That was a good dream.
Okay, so the next dream is from the user Shimmer Mist. Ooh. So this is another two-parter. First one is one of those dreams where you need to use the restroom. I searched for one and found a gas station restroom, but it was completely covered in spiders. The spiders ended up being friendly and able to talk, so they got off the toilet. I really didn't want to use those spider restrooms, so I woke up. For drawing purposes, it was one of those single toilet things with a locking door, not a multi-stall one. In another one, I was a cat, spying on the Imperial troopers on the Death Star. I saw Darth Vader and the Emperor get off a spaceship, and I kept hoping they couldn't sense that the little cat across the way was a rebel spy. Oh, there's a third one.
Oh, wow, okay.
The third one is from when I was little. I was in the car on the highway with my parents and brother. We saw a tornado coming and we're trying to find shelter. Then we were stopped by a traffic jam and a long line. We got out of the car, panicking, and were reassured that this was a scheduled tornado, and it would wait till everyone was done with paperwork before it arrived. Sure enough, it sat there spinning and waiting until everyone had finished their tornado paperwork and made it safely into the shelter before it came through the area. Wow.
Oh, man, that's great. You know, that reminds me of something like you'd read in A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or something like that.
It does have that kind of similar humor and setup.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I like the second one where it's like, oh man, that's the little other cat over there is a rebel spy. But then they also hope that Vader couldn't sense that cat was a rebel spy, so that means that they were also a rebel spy.
Yeah. Oh,
it's pretty cute.
Yeah, and the first one was funny too. Like, just giant spiders, friendly giant spiders. I can just imagine it's like, oh, here you go, buddy. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. We'll just chill out over here.
Yeah, it got me when they were like, they were friendly, so they were able to talk, and then they got off the toilet for me. It's like, was it a big spider or like a little regular sized spider just on the toilet?
Do you still use the toilet at that point? Like, are they just standing there looking at you?
I don't know.
So many questions, but that was cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
So, okay, let's see. The next one that we have is from user Northern Avo. This one happened years ago. It's a dream where I'm at home in a beautiful suburban neighborhood with Victorian colonial style houses. Specifically, I think I was standing on my own porch. It was a yellow house with white trimming. I stepped off the porch onto the sidewalk to walk a little and hang out with a friend or something. I think my parents might have been there too. Can't really remember, but it was possible I was close with them. It was bright out, blue, clear skies, but it felt like sunset, maybe around 4 or 5 p.m. in the late summer, early fall. I look up into the sky behind me and saw what was probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in a dream. The earth itself was rising above the horizon, like an earthrise instead of a moon or a sunrise. It was huge. It was so vivid, so crisp and clear. It took up half the sky and it rose so quickly. I got a sense of perspective that was really magical, feeling that I was like indeed in space. I remember it feeling as though we were tilting towards the Earth because of how big it was and how quickly it rose. You could make out the sort of circular path that it was taking. And then I saw a space shuttle above. It was also huge, like in my face huge. It had its fuselage open as they did in orbit, and I think I saw an astronaut floating there attached by their wire to the shuttle. That was it.
That's a really cool imagery.
Yeah, way to go with the description there, Northern Avo. I can really picture it. I actually sketched this one out. I think it's on the Instagram for whoever wants to check it out.
I think if I saw it in actual life, my whole reality would crumble.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you should go lucid, if you see that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. The next dream is from user Fanta Fan. So the dream I'd find the most interesting to be drawn was the one about Titans from Attack on Titan. I was sitting with some family members and characters of the anime manga on our terrace, and we saw that a giant Titan was demolishing a house in the distance of the sun. Demolishing a house in the distance of the sunset. The Titan was completely covered in fur.
Okay, yeah, that would be really terrifying.
I mean, that's what they do anyway in the show.
Yeah, but can you imagine, like, you're just seeing like a giant in the distance, and it's like they're demolishing a house, and you're like, oh, wow, that's a giant. Oh, wait a minute. They could take a few steps over to this way.
Oh, no. I want to see, like, what would happen further in the dream, if possible.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, whenever I see giant creatures in dreams, I usually just, like, feel frozen with fear. Either that or I go lucid. Like, I'll have, like, a lucid dream. But, okay, let's see. So the next one is from username Havoc. I was some kind of ancient alien worm that was like a leech, but a black leech, and it was tortured and bullied by the others who were white and more like tapeworms. I escaped to a prehistorical Earth and burrowed in the ground. All the trees and life on Earth grew from the sides, and so did a cloaked humanoid figure similar in color to the original worm. This figure puked out 1,000 human beings, and it threw them all over the earth. And then it split itself into 2 nature gods that seemed a lot like Adam and Eve. Wow, this dream went full psychedelic.
Is that psychedelics?
I don't know, man. It's like psychedelic and then some. But I like the continuity of it. So they were an ancient alien worm that was like a black leech, and it was bullied by white worms.
Racist alien white worms. How dare they?
Racist alien worm. And so the worm escaped to Earth and burrowed into the ground. This would be like a cool myth, you know, like a cool folklore myth or like a creation myth.
Yeah, we just found out how humanity started, guys. We don't need anthropology classes anymore.
This is the real one. This is the true one. But it's cool though. I really like it.
Yeah. I think it's right up there with the like Norse myths, where like has all these ridiculous creations of beings happening. Like,
yeah, and the Greek myths. Yeah. Pretty much all myths.
Yeah, and they all have like Loki has like he has sailed like Asgard with like a boat full of made of people's like teeth and nails. Like, who thinks of that? You know, like that's psychedelic, right?
I don't know. I mean, I know. Yeah, definitely. Didn't Vikings eat like mushrooms or something, or drink like reindeer pee or something, like fermented or something?
Maybe they drank too much mead.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, though, it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
High on the mythos status.
All right. So the next story is from user swoopy_ghost0. So here's the dream. There were these 4 superhuman people, 2 guys, 2 girls, and I guess they could control fire or something. Not like a firebender, though. More like the guy from Iron Man 3. I was in this counterterrorism group, and we were having trouble fighting them. I was also in this mech suit, which was hard to control. Well, I remember charging at one with my shoulder and knocking them over, and I guess we had put them in this group on a little walkway with a pool on both sides. Also, this was in a pool place like the game map TTT Waterworld, but I had guns on both my arms and ordered them to stand down. I have a microphone in the suit or something like it. I saw 2 of them start to try and bite their lip, which I guess meant that they were going to try and do something with their powers. So I gunned them both down, and then both their bodies fell into the water. I don't remember how, but the last 2 ended up in the water and were about to die, so I reached in to pull one up. They failed to grab my hand twice before I was able to pull them up. I tried to perform CPR on her, but failed, and then I woke up.
This started interesting and turned morbid very quick. Man.
I want to know how they use their superpowers, though. He seemed like he caught them pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of interesting parts to this dream. Like, that must have been like some powerful mech suit, like to level the playing field.
That's what I'm thinking.
Actually, I also drew this one too. I also made a sketch out of this one.
Did they explain what the power suit looks like?
Honestly, I don't remember. This was a while ago.
Okay.
But I remember like getting some details from the dreamer. Yeah, I like the intricacy of like the whole dynamic of the dream. But okay, let's see. So we have another dream here. So this one is from Puzzled Phoenix, a returning user. Always good to hear from you.
Welcome back. We love your stories.
Yeah, Phoenix got some really, really good stories. The location was a huge city consisting of just skyscrapers that didn't connect, and only higher floors were available for access. These buildings were inhabited by what was called by other people the Masked Ones, who were normal except for the fact that their heads were surrounded and completely covered by a sphere of dark energy. They were also hostile to any non-masked human. The other people of interest consisted of what me and other people called crones. There were 3 old women with the skill to create very powerful items, and I stole some of these items from them. One of them was a staff that shot out energy. One staff gave off extremely loud bells when held by someone not a crone, and I also stole a cup of yogurt. Don't ask, it looked tasty. These women didn't seem to have an effect on the masked ones, but they seemed worried that wouldn't last forever. Sadly, I never figured out why that was the case. And then there was the last group of people. I'll call these group survivors. These are people who seem to have been picked at random from separate, or in rare cases, the same dimension, who have very specific and mastered skills, and who haven't been picked off by the masked ones or the crones. I don't recall when I first came to this place, but there was a mission burned into my mind at one point, which was to find and activate bridges that will connect the towers and regroup with 7 other people, all from separate towers. Time goes on, and with more people being found in my tower, I start a hunt to exterminate the masked ones, which is successful, but instead of finding a bridge activation point, I find the crones camp, which gave the idea that either the crones can only activate this one, hiding the activation, or just don't know. So we steal some items while we're there. We leave to form a plan to draw them out, as open combat would result in lives lost. That's where the story ends, and I wake up. A little later. There's one more thing about this place that's pretty important. When it's storming, certain survivors will be targeted by the storm to have a fit of pure insanity. I have no idea how this happens, but these specific people start to go insane, to put it lightly, and attacking the tower structure itself, and convincing other survivors that there's no hope and to join them in committing suicide. Just an odd scenario, if you ask me. It's also worth to mention that these people come into this world wearing clothes and having weapons or tools that match their personality, so when a guy who really liked fire and explosives lost his mind, it was no fun. Huh.
That was super interesting, actually.
Yeah, and they have like the whole backstory and everything.
Yeah. Like your mind just created this and they're in the background, you know, and yet you still were able to pick that up, even though you're having your own mission.
Yeah, you know, that's like, that never ceases to amaze me, how dreams can just kind of like piece things together like at a snap of a finger, like in an instant. You know, it kind of reminds me of, have you ever played those games when you were a kid where it was like creativity games, like somebody gives you like a sheet where you fold it up a bunch of times, and then somebody draws the head, another person draws the arms, and another person draws the torso and the legs and things like that? Or like you just throw out like a bunch of random words and then people string them together to make sentences. It's just amazing what a crazy powerful connectivity device a brain is, you know?
Man, the brain is amazing. It's, you know, not even like fully understood yet. And we just have like these neurons that just make up things from our imagination while we're sleeping, and then becomes whatever they mean to us.
Yeah, it's really crazy to think about. But yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, Phoenix. You always have some good ones.
Yeah, literally this one sounds like a little one-shot D&D kind of little campaign, and it'd be like really fun to like play and have like the players go insane from the storm randomly. That sounds fun.
Yes.
And so that's all we have today for you guys. As always, if you want to check out our YouTube channel, Insta, or Twitter, that's all at the Let's Dream Podcast. We have excellent arts of some of these dream creatures and dreams from Casey Lucid. Thank you guys for listening so much. I hope you're keeping up with your dream journals. And if you like what we do, make sure to follow us for more updates. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.